In order to become a successful trader, you don't need 20 monitors, you don't need 10 different indicators, and you certainly don't need 7 different strategies. All you need is one laptop, one proven system, and one unshakable iron mindset. Hey there, Tamir from FIBONACCI'S.com here with the weekly market recap. Please hit the like, subscribe, share with friends, and without any further ado, let's see the chart. We'll go over the weekly charts. We will start with the SPY, of course. 428 is the 618 Fibonacci level. This is the downtrend, uptrend, 618. We are in a bull's market. We have trend lines to help us identify the higher lows, higher highs, the definition of an uptrend, higher highs, higher lows. 428 now to the downside is the support. It was a very important level of support during July towards April of 2022. Next resistance 450 together with this green trend line to the upside. 450, look left, very important level of resistance, support, resistance, breaking above this green trend line, above this area, and SPY is heading over the 480. QQQ on the weekly. After two consecutive dojis on the weekly, 343 held, 371 now is the resistance. Look left, resistance, resistance, breaking up and above, and nothing will stop the Qs towards all-time highs at the 410. Follow price, use levels as your risk management and as your map for future price action. Bulls of the Dow are here, but 343, 344 now is still a resistance. Look left, resistance over here, resistance, very tough resistance during January and February earlier this year. Also resistance over here, support during 2021 and 2022, 344 area, very tough resistance. And if you are a pattern seeker, pattern trader, you can obviously see head and shoulder, inverted head and shoulders, but patterns are not reliable. We don't rely on patterns. All we do, follow price and use levels as our risk management. Above 344 on a weekly, we are heading towards 352. Above it, 364 and all-time highs for the Dow. IWM after two very bullish weeks. This week we have a doji above the 184 area. Let's see, the 184 needs to hold, otherwise we are going retesting this 180, but continuation, and then we have 190 and 200 to the upside. 200 will be a very tough resistance for the IWM bulls. Look left, all this consolidation surrounding the 200s. Then we had this resistance, we had over here January resistance, breaking above 190, 200 will be a very tough one. It's also the 618 retracement, sorry, the 50 retracement, Fibonacci retracement. So obviously it will be a very tough one. Above it, 210. XLB, we are following this ETF, still under trend line, breaking up and above. We are heading towards 84. Above it we are heading 88, and then all-time highs towards the 92. All we need to do, look left where price came from and where it might be heading next. We also can take Fibonacci, swing high, swing low, and as you can see, trend line above it 85, above it 91 is the all-time highs. XBI worth watching, 88, 87 is holding, but in the past few weeks or so, since beginning of May, very tough resistance. All this area, as you can see, few consecutive dojis. Doji is the most significant signal in candlestick analysis for an indecision, a great battle between bulls and bears. 88 needs to hold. Let's see continuation towards the 95. Above 95, look left. 95 area, 96 area, resistance, support, resistance, consolidation, resistance, resistance. Above 95, we will get a bull run towards 107 and 125 to the upside. XLE, another week, another indecision on the XLE ETF. We have trend line for the lower highs, trend line for the higher lows, indecision, consolidation on the XLE. Price range is getting tighter and tighter, long above the white trend line, at least a week or so, closing above the white trend line. Then we are heading towards the 88 and then 93, breaking below the blue trend line. A week or so, we are going towards the 76 and then gap to the 73. SMH, if you follow me on Twitter and you saw previous videos, you know these trend lines. We don't even need Fibonacci because we drew these trend lines a few weeks back and we said that the upper white trend line will be a very tough resistance, and here we are, third week in a row. The SMH bulls can be a little more accurate, but it doesn't really matter. It's just an area of resistance. One more week of failing to break up and above, bulls will give up, and then we are going to the downside towards the 132. We can take Fibonacci, swing low, swing high to help us identify potential support and resistance. Below 146, we are going towards the 140. Below it, we are going towards 131 together with this white trend line. Breaking up and above the 156, 157, we will have a new all-time highs on the SMH towards the 174. SOXX, same thing, trend line. We drew it a few weeks back, 3 weeks in a row. SOXX failing to break above it. One more week or so failing to do. We are going towards the 470 and then back to the 445. Same thing, you can take Fibonacci to help you identify support and resistance. 466 needs to hold, otherwise we are going towards the 437 and maybe back to the 394, breaking up and above the 517, sorry, and above this green trend line. We are heading towards all-time highs, of course, and 574 to the upside. Ethereum breaking below this trend line, so this trend line is not relevant anymore, so we delete it. Clean the chart, clear the chart, clear your point of view, make it easier on the eyes. And now, as you can see, 1920, 1930 to the upside, very tough resistance. It was a very important level of support, resistance, and now since beginning of April, as you can see, resistance, try to break up and above, got rejected by this trend line, went back down, and since then failing to break up above and closing above the 1930. And for now, let's see where it might be heading. Below the 1640, we are heading towards the 1400s on the weekly, breaking above the 1930, 2136, and then 2772. Bitcoin on the weekly, we have another 1.5 days for this week to be closed, this candle. But as we can see, since April, each and every candle on the weekly have lower lows, lower highs, which means we are in a pullback. We had this massive run, now pullback. 24k needs to hold, otherwise in my opinion 21k, 20 to the downside will be the next support. Only 2 or 3 weeks closing above the 31k will continue this uptrend towards 36,600, and then maybe by the end of this year we will see 46 to the upside. Google, 4 consecutive dojis on the weekly above the 120. 120, very important level of support because it was a very important level of resistance. Now, long continuation above 126, 127 towards 133. 120 needs to hold. Otherwise, 116, 112 to the downside. We can take also Fibonacci, swing low, swing high, 119, below it 111 and 106. Apple closing another week on all-time highs, 185. Continuation above it, 200 will be next, 198 or the 200. 175 is the risk for now. Below it, we are going to retest this red trend line. Tesla. Trend lines are the true support resistance for price action, and Tesla finally managing to close above this purple trend line. This purple trend line goes all the way back since November of 2021. Since then, each and every time Tesla tried to break above it, it failed. Even last week. This week broke to the upside. 270 is the next resistance. Above it, we are going 313. Above 313, in my opinion, all-time highs, and maybe by the end of this year, we are going towards 490. Follow price. Use levels and trend lines as your guide for future price action. All other indicators, without any exceptions, are pure lagging. Microsoft, all-time highs during this week, closed almost all-time highs. 338, 333 now is the support. Below it, 320, above 350, we are going towards 410 to the upside. Microsoft, very bullish on Microsoft until proven otherwise. AMD, 4 consecutive weeks failing to close above the 130. Not surprising because the 130 was a very important level of support, resistance. Now 4 consecutive weeks failing to break above it. 116 needs to hold, otherwise we are going to retest the 108. Below 108 we are going towards the 94. Nvidia, what can we say about Nvidia that has not been said yet? 440 new all-time highs. 380 now needs to hold on the weekly, otherwise we are going to retest the 339, and we have all the levels to the downside. But Nvidia is in a very bullish sentiment. We have a FOMO on Nvidia breaking above the 440, in my opinion, 666 by the end of this year. Netflix above the 404. 463 is the next resistance. 404 needs to hold. We have here slight gap over here at the 383. Let's see where Netflix can take us. We can take Fibonacci, swing low, swing high. We have this low, swing low, swing high. Above 450 area, we are going towards 535. And then all-time highs at the 706. 404 needs to hold. Otherwise, we have all the levels and this yellow trend line to the downside. Netflix also bullish until proven otherwise. Amazon, one more week, managing to stay above this white trend line, above the 123. But it looks like bulls of Amazon are resting. Long continuation above 128 towards 136. Then we have 146 and 156 to the upside. Breaking below this white trend line, 112 to the downside is the support. Meta, nothing stops Meta to the upside. Maybe the 300 will become a very tough resistance for Meta bulls. Only by looking left, you can identify this 300 area from resistance. Look at here, August 2020, all the way towards March of 2021. Then it broke up. Support broke to the downside. Now, with high probability, this area of the 298,300 will become a very tough resistance for Meta. Some kind of a pullback or a sideways move will be very healthy for Meta bulls before breaking up above and going all the way towards all-time highs. Meta, since November, 215% gains, and still we have 35% to the upside for all-time highs. Shopify, uptrend until proven otherwise, but since beginning of May, basically moving sideways, long continuation above, closing above the 65 area. Just look left. All these candles in the past few weeks failed to close above the 65 area. A weekly close above the 65, we will head towards this blue trend line. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please hit the like, subscribe, share with friends, will be much appreciated. Don't forget to check the links in the description below and hit the notification bell because more videos are coming in this long weekend. Until the next video, enjoy the rest of your weekend.